Alright folks, what we got in here are some gafftops, and we're going to fillet them today. What I like to get things started with is actually sharpening the knife though, so make sure you got a sharp knife to get started. Alright, so let's go ahead and get that done. And out of the way, I do want to go ahead and wash it off a slight bit. Alright, so this knife I can just lay down here. Now, a lot of people, they like to just go ahead and dig in with the catfish with their bare hands, but personally, I wear gloves. Now the reason I wear gloves is just so I don't get the slime all over my fingers and get the smell stuck on me and stuff like that. So I prefer to wash my hands and then also get some latex gloves on. So for now, I'm going to put that aside and get my gloves on. And some folks, I'm sure they do wear latex gloves, but the next thing I still do is go ahead and wear one of the fish gloves as well. One is for extra protection. Sorry for the loud bang there. Extra protection, but also to get a nice grip on the fish. That's going to be really important once we get started. All I need is for my left hand though. I'm right-handed. I'll cut with my right hand, but my left hand will be the ones used to actually hold the fish. So let's go ahead and reach in here, grab ourselves a Gafttop Catfish. Okay. Alright, I'm going to rinse it off a little bit. I want it lukewarm. Not too hot, not too cold. I just want to get the slime off. Some of it. You won't get all of it. Some. Now I know there's people out there that like to use pliers and skin it off and everything. I prefer the easier route. It's faster, it's easier. I think it's a lot less mess. Okay, so what I have here is a cutting board, and if I place it over the sink, you'll notice that it moves quite a bit, right? And you probably have the same problem at home. It's going to be a problem. So what I'm going to do is just grab another latex glove. Check it out. All I got to do is just fold this up a little bit, move my cutting board over, put it right on the edge right here, okay, and right there. That will help hold it in place. See that? It moves a lot less now. If I want to, I could fold it up one more time, right along there. Doesn't have to be perfect. I have it locked inside this little groove here, but it doesn't have to. If you want to, you can actually just place it directly over it. So it still holds it just fine. But personally, I prefer it over the groove, just because. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with the first catfish. Let's pull this guy out. Now, some folks will try to get every last bit of meat off of the catfish. Quite frankly, it's a good size. All the catfish that I kept, they're about 20 inches or so, 22 inches. This one's probably about 21 inch. What I'm going to do is actually start a little bit right here by the top dorsal fin, and I'm going to bring the knife back down to here to the anal fin, okay? So basically come in at an angle, pull straight down, cutting that way, okay? And then I'm going to do the same thing right over here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just get started on that. Okay, so I feel where the bone is, and that's about where I want to get started, because that's right where the bone is, literally right there. You can hear it. Okay, so I'm going to go past it just a slight bit, cut in, go down at an angle, and just keep going down. Okay. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I was doing this, I was paying attention to the wrong fin. It needs to be down this one. Doing this and talking is really difficult, you know? Oh. I'm just going to do this one, and then I'll redo it on the next fish, I guess. Hey babe, can you get me a big plate? I forgot to do that. Alright, so I cut off a piece of the catfish already on one side. I'm cutting a little piece off the tail so I can have a grip. Pressing down, grab that end, pushing the blade down, and then just pulling the skin back. There we go. So that's out of the way. That's cut out. Let's do the other one. Okay. There we go. Get a grip. Okay. Blade down at an angle, and then just pulling the skin back. There we go. Skin's off. And now this is filleted. Putting that little guy down. And there we go. Okay. Now I'm going to show you from the beginning to end how I fillet the catfish. Alright. So you're going to find right here on the side of the catfish, it's pretty hard, okay? You can hear it. You want to cut down at an angle and kind of go right behind the anal fin, okay? So towards that direction at an angle, just cut down. You fillet going across with the ribs. You don't want to push into the ribs because that's just extra bones you don't want to mess with. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Just coming down once I find where that bone is. There it is. So I can go over here a little bit. There we go. And then at an angle, come down. There we go. All the way back to the anal fin. Okay. And then I'm going to cut into this, into the corner. Once I find, get around it. There we go. I found it. Now I can go back into the spine and just go straight through. And just bring the knife all the way down. Okay. So that'll cut that off right there. And then just some final cuts and that'll come right off. There you go. That came right off. Okay, so you can go this way. I prefer to just flip the fish a little bit onto the other side. And then right here, coming down. Once I find that spot and cut that corner off, I'm good to go. Keep coming down towards the spine. Alright, go all the way through. And then bring it back. Like that. Okay? And then, bloop, just one tiny little slice, and that came right off. Okay? So there you go. See all that? That's the rib cage. You don't need to mess with that. That came right off. There's a little bit of meat in here, but come on. I mean, that'll fit what? Between your teeth? That's not a whole lot of meat to worry about. Okay? So let's put this over here. Let's flip this over and finish off the fillet. Take that off there. Okay? Now that I've gotten started, I can just keep pulling and running the blade right through it. Okay, so that's done. I can move that aside. Do the same thing over here. Okay. So take a piece here. I'm not going to worry too much about this little piece that's going to be cut off because it's not a whole lot of meat. It's way too thin, and when you cook it, it's going to cook off way too quickly. Okay. So now I got a grip, and then just start running the blade through. All right, just like that. That's filleted. Okay. Here we go. So that's 2 fish filleted. Let's go ahead and put this in there and grab the next 2. This one's probably a good 20-inch. Wash this off a little bit. Now I find that some people will try to fillet the catfish like live. I don't like that for one. It's alive. I don't really want to fillet a fish while it's still alive. And plus, it's much easier to fillet when it's cold. Okay, it stops the blood already. The blood's not flowing. When it's alive, even if you poke into its brain and kill it almost immediately and start filleting it, well, it's going to still be bleeding all over the place. So all that does is put a lot of blood into the fillet, and I don't like that. Take off the end, and let's get that fillet off. There we go. So that fillet is done. And then the last one. So pretty quick. You don't have to spend all day long trying to pull the skin off. It's so messy, so difficult, and this keeps it fast, simple, and clean. Ta-da. Okay, so we're done filleting. What we want to do is just clean this off. Before I cook the catfish, I still prepare it one more time. The reason for that is because all the red on it. Some people don't mind the red, but it gives it a different flavor. I prefer to cut it out, and I'm going to show you how I cut it out as well. Okay? Okay, before we get to part 2 of the video, I want to go ahead and just show you that I clean it off and I put it into a container. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so all I'm doing is just rinsing it off real quick. I'm going to place it in here with a paper towel. Okay. Okay. Just about done rinsing. See, the fillets, there's plenty of meat on here. Not to worry if you take some of that off. Plus, sometimes the smaller catfish, they're actually really good cooking anyway. They're really good eating. The thicker ones, sometimes I have to cut it down a little bit more anyway before I fry it, which I'll show you in part 2 how I do that. Okay, last one. Okay. Go. Alright, we are good to go. I'm going to put a lid on this thing and put it in the fridge. And we'll cook this for dinner tomorrow.